Dr. Stone is about a world where all of humanity has been petrified. Everybody encased in stone for thousands of years, until our protagonist Senku awakens and vows to return the world to its former glory. And yet as the show continues, it's about so much more than that. Does humanity deserve to survive? Is progress meaningful if you never get to see it in your lifetime? Can individuals really work together to create a peaceful collective? Has modern technology evolved into such a state that its mere existence is violence? For a show about science, engineering, and friendship, it raises very intense philosophical questions, all of which we get our protagonist's answer to. Science levels the playing field for all. Dr. Stone is a shonen anime that defies all expectations. To a degree, I could almost label it as a genre subversion. There's so much I could talk about just in relation to that, but for the sake of keeping this video concise, I'm going to limit myself. I want to explore Dr. Stone's truly unique protagonist and its incredibly progressive ideas about what society could be. I'm going to limit myself further by just focusing on seasons 1 and 2, because otherwise there's just too much to cover and too many characters to draw from. What was that? This is also my first time filming a video essay in the new backdrop that I set up. If you want to see a full video of me talking about the changes to my filming space, you can watch that up here. And my first time wearing Senku outside of World Cosplay Summit. I like to do my video essays from things that I cosplay from, so now that I had a Senku cosplay, great excuse to talk about Dr. Stone. I thought it wasn't going to be obvious I wasn't wearing the full cosplay, and now I realize you can see that there's supposed to be a belt here. Ignore that. Let's start by diving into Senku as a protagonist. Senku is a young teenage boy with only one thing on his mind: scientific progress. I almost feel it's appropriate to label his unwavering devotion to science as a religion. Science and engineering come into play in every aspect of Senku's life, down to his morals, philosophy, and ideals. I think it speaks volume that his goal upon waking up in the stone world, a desolate world overtaken by nature, is that he wants to bring back everything. Is he correct in wanting to bring back everything? More on that soon. The typical shonen anime protagonist is a young teenage boy who goes on a journey to achieve a personal goal, with a focus on themes like friendship, adventure, and good versus evil. The goal of most shonen anime protagonists is typically quite self-centered. They need to be number one, get stronger, get revenge. And these characters have evolved a lot recently to be a lot more complex and kind of break out of the usual cliche. We have characters like Itadori from JJK, who is a lot more lighter in personality, but his core motivation ultimately is survival. Or on the other end of the scale, characters like Rudo from Gachiakita, who is a lot more gritty and is fueled by anger. Senku falls under a category of his own, personality-wise. He's very selfless in the sense that he wants to revive everyone and bring back all the good things that science brought people. He's also quite selfish in that he expects everyone else to follow the exact same belief. Senku is repeatedly shown under two different lights, the first one being quite a compassionate and understanding person who values companionship. The other is an asshole. Everything he does comes with a condition, a loophole, something that suits him and his needs. And that's what's usually assumed of him first, rather than the former. On a surface level, Senku is a charming, fun, cool character who's really easy to root for. But the more you dig into some of the deeper aspects of this show, the easier it becomes to start to see Senku as more of a morally grey character. And nothing highlights this quite as well as the key conflict of season 1, Senku's war against Tsukasa. Senku's ideology is the opposite of Tsukasa's. He wants to bring back everything: globalization, technology, and automation. On a surface level, that sounds great, especially after we just watched Senku go through the struggle of trying to survive in the natural world. But as someone living within this modern context, I think a lot of us would use this as a chance to start fresh. There's a lot of evil in our world, and a lot of that evil is enacted by advanced technological means. science. Now, this manga was written close to 10 years ago now. I think it speaks volumes that even within that limited amount of time, our modern context and technologies have already advanced so much. There wasn't generative AI running rampant when Dr. Stone was first written. Living in this modern world now where a push of a button can murder thousands, where you can take anyone's image and transform it into anything you want, where we have beautiful cities with towering buildings and benches designed so that homeless people can't sleep on them. It's actually so easy to disagree with Senku. Let's not bring everything back. The world kind of sucked. This is where our contrast to Senku comes in, Tsukasa. Tsukasa raises the point that our technological society, in particular our capitalistic society, immediately created power imbalances among people. Strong versus weak, rich versus poor. Guns and weaponry are in particular what he labels as the dangers of modern society. Tsukasa sees himself as this executioner, crumbling statues of those he deems evil, and preserving human strength and skill. I agree with a lot of his beliefs, but it's his methods in enacting them that make him both antagonist and villain of this season. On paper, Senku's beliefs sound immature and childish, wanting to bring back what you lost and maintain comforts. But when we see his methods in motion, there's something that Senku brings to the table that ultimately defines his ideals and showcases how he could build an identical technological society, but better, and that is inclusion. Senku's interactions with the people of Ishigami Village give us a better insight into how he views people. We previously only really saw him with people he already considered friends, Taiju and Yuzuriya. The first person he interacts with is Kohaku. He helps her by engineering a pulley system to help her. He sees her physical strengths and shows her ways that tasks like fetching heavy water could be done faster. With characters like Chrome and Kohaku, who are intelligent and smart, it's very easy to see objectively why he'd want to recruit these people for his cause. Even Kinro and Ginro are a priority to enlist, as they would give Senku access to the village and protection. But we quickly see it's not just people who are objectively capable that Senku sees potential in. Let's talk about Suika. Suika is made a bit of an outcast due to the fuzzy sickness, but is eager to be helpful. While in our world we would hardly consider short-sightedness a disability, within the stone world it's a physical trait that limits some of her capabilities, so we can consider it at a similar level. Senku doesn't see her for her strange faces or her struggles to see. Instead, he just sees a child eager to help and prove themselves. Senku and his kingdom of science need help. So, in exchange, Senku gives Suika glasses. And Suika becomes one of the most useful characters in the show, not from the glasses, but from Senku's faith in her and the confidence that that brings. Kasuki is another prime example. He's elderly. His craftsmanship days are long behind him. Or are they? Senku's enthusiasm and youth is what invigorates Kasuki, showing him all these cool things he could be capable of and having faith in those craftsmanship abilities and not ever doubting whether he's too old for it. Every person enlisted in Senku's kingdom of science brings something different to the table, and they're all given their own unique seat to make sure that they can fit. Everyone is a cog in a wheel, but they're all made sure that they're put in the right place so that they can keep turning. His team, who are also his friends, aren't treated as nameless workers. Senku takes the time to understand flaws and strengths equally to make sure everyone can work successfully and happily. This show actually has a surprising amount of diversity, in my opinion. Varying ages, abilities, and disabilities, further down the line, different races, but I'm honestly not sure how well that's handled. And you cannot tell me that the show isn't full of queers. Argue with the wall, Senku himself is some form of ace arrow. At the very least, he's not attracted to women. We also have bi-icon Ryusui and his non-binary butler Francois. And Gen's there too. The dainty little fella himself. When Senku's ideals are put into action, we begin to see how this world he dreams of is truly possible, and it's with inclusion. No one is left behind. His ideal society might look weak as a collective when seen on paper, but his ability to prioritize individual well-being shows a powerful message about what society could be. Tsukasa is the opposite again. His society sounds good. No corruption, no evil, strength. But on an individual level, people aren't thriving. Tsukasa sits on this throne away from his people, and clearly doesn't take the time to get to know them individually. Take Ukyo, for example. His skill is very useful to Tsukasa with his advanced hearing, but Tsukasa has no idea how big of a pacifist he is and his hatred for violence. And this is why he ultimately loses him to Senku's side. In fact, the person he chooses to have as his right-hand man, Hyoga, is the very power-hungry man that Tsukasa wanted to eradicate. And he hid right under his nose. Tsukasa doesn't give the weak a chance, and I feel that this is ultimately the flaw to his logic. In his quest to eliminate evil from society, he abandons the weak, who still deserve to live. Senku's belief and faith in everyone, without compromising his arrogant personality, is what I ultimately feel sets him apart as a protagonist. While I haven't seen every shonen anime, and I'm sure there is exceptions to what I'm about to say, generally these protagonists aren't often shown making mistakes. They appear as these perfect characters, always striving forward and making their friends smile. They lose individual battles and have their dark moments, but they're not really shown to be selfish or have problems with ego. Senku is shown to have flaws from the beginning. He takes no notice of things that don't interest him, and he does appear quite arrogant. He doesn't always pick up on social cues. Instead, he maintains a conversation about what he wants to talk about. We don't see a lot of him before the Stone World, but we can see in some of the school scenes that he's quite brash and bold in the way he talks with his classmates, dismissing Gen's quizzes and focusing just on his science projects. He gets better at this in the Stone World because people's emotions are quite important when there's such a limited group. I actually really like that Senku is this weird little guy, because the unlikable things about him make him a way more likable character, because he's complex. Other shonens have this heavy focus on good versus evil, protagonist versus their biggest enemy. Senku doesn't label anyone as evil or bad at their core. Characters who stand in his way or inflict violence, say Hyoga, are stunned and then imprisoned. He keeps Hyoga prisoner until they revive everyone so that he can be properly tried by judge and jury. It's a really interesting take because, number one, the justice system is so flawed, but what it tells us is that Senku is capable of not acknowledging that some things are outside of his capabilities. It lowers his ego. He doesn't see himself as a king making decrees or some kind of enforcement of law. He knows these people have done bad things and he doesn't feel qualified to judge them. And that's really refreshing from an anime where justice isn't served with a big punch or the character doesn't see himself as God. Looking at you, Light Yagami. Senku sees people not as good or evil, but as those who benefit society in its growth and those who hinder it. Overall, this show just brings a lot of fresh ideas and characters to a genre that is so overrun with cliches and tropes. It's a breath of fresh air in a sea of boys punching things. Which, don't get me wrong, I do like those too. I went on a few rambly tangents there, but what I really wanted to highlight were the things that I think make this show truly unique. Is protagonist, ideals, and focus on inclusion above violence. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's always really nerve-wracking when I do a video essay about a new show for the first time, because I'm never really sure if there is or isn't an audience for it. So if you're a Dr. Stone fan who stuck around to check out this video, 10 billion points for you. Let me know some of your thoughts on this show down in the comments below. I love a productive discussion. And if you want me to do more video essays on Dr. Stone, I'm sure I can find a few more things to talk about. If you missed it, this cosplay was made for the World Cosplay Summit preliminary competition in which I placed. I have a full vlog about that experience. And as always, thank you for your time, your attention, and your support. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!